flying is indescribable. It certainly took some practice to get the hang of. I can't count the number of painful falls I've subjected myself to in the last few weeks. Thankfully, I did my practicing alone, so no one was around to witness my humiliating attempts. The first time my wings caught the air and I felt myself rising, well, it felt like I was being lifted up by invisible hands.
This is quite an unusual place I've found myself in. These Auran are completely isolated. As far as I can tell, they've never even heard of, let alone seen, a Hera before. So, needless to say, their first impression of me wasn't exactly positive. Nevertheless, I think I like this village. It's peaceful. And after spending so much time travelling, it might be nice to settle down in one place for a while. I'll have to come back later and try a little bit harder to fit in.
The purple flowers have started sprouting up around the metal monument, so of course someone brought up the idea that they might have a similar effect here as they do at the stone monument. After much discussion, one brave individual finally stepped forward. I'm sure not one of us moved a muscle or breathed as she placed a single flower petal in her mouth and then touched the metal. A few seconds later, the oddest creature stood before us. It is the animal in the painting, the griffin come to life.
The mural I designed is coming along beautifully. We managed to locate an abundance of materials to make the inks, mainly in yellow and blue, of course, fitting colours for a painting which glorifies the sky god. I only regret that I'm not able to actually paint the image myself. However, Saria and her team are doing a fantastic job of it. In fact, I might recommend Saria for Ascension after this is done.
I just can't understand all these strange occurrences. Orin transforming into Hera and griffins using flowers? It doesn't make any sense. I wish there was some way I could study the phenomenon, but I would never know where to start.
A strange griffin was brought here by a storm. She said she attempted to find shelter but was unfamiliar with flying since she'd recently transformed from an oran and was out of practice. I've heard about griffins who voluntarily spend time in other forms, and I find the idea perplexing. No one who willingly lives as a child of Nephiros will ever be considered a true child of Malak Ra, whether or not they happen to look like a griffin. I hope she finds her way back to her own kind soon.
While flying over the island, I saw the most unusual sight. The purple flowers have begun to grow in the middle of the forest, around the trunk of a certain tree. I never noticed anything special about this tree before, and upon closer inspection, it still just seems to be an ordinary tree. While flying over the island, I saw the most unusual sight. The purple flowers have begun to grow in the middle of the forest, around the trunk of a certain tree. I never noticed anything special about this tree before, and upon closer inspection, it still just seems to be an ordinary tree.